Instruct the current Department of Education and give the power back to the states. And what can you say to people with children to comfort them about this announcement that he's made?
To your first question, what would I say? I guess I would say, zippity-doo-dah, zippity, my, oh my, what a wonderful day. That would be the first thing I would say. And to the parents who are concerned, I would say, plenty of sunshine heading your way. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity. That's what I would say. The Department of Education's been a complete failure. It's not only been a huge waste of taxpayer money, but it's one charge, which is to make students smarter and better educated. It's completely failed at over its 40-plus years of existence. Test scores have gone down. It's really good at forcing local schools to adopt the latest LGBT craze or whatever, but it's not good at much else. So I say good riddance. Bye-bye, Department of Education. And I tell parents your kids are going to get a much better education as a result of it.
What are your personal opinions on President
Trump? There we go. Zippity-doo-dah. Are we live? Producer Jace, yes, gave me the thumbs up. Zippity-doo-dah. Leave it to Michael Knowles, everybody, to take such a contentious topic, a sincere question from someone in his audience and just flip it on its head and turn it around and make light of it. Good morning, everybody. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. Today is Tuesday, December 17th. Oh my goodness, 2024. It is the end of the year. I'm Jill Simonian from PragerU Kids. It's been a minute since I've been live here with you, and I'm so excited to be live here again because we have got, listen, I shared that Instagram snippet, if you will, of Michael Knowles because there are so many hot topics that have happened again this year in 2024 regarding our education system and how children are being educated or not being educated. And, we have a lot of concerning things that have happened in education, but at the same time, I am oh so hopeful about this next year. And most of us here at PragerU Kids are sincerely just, genuinely hopeful from the bottom of our hearts in terms of what will be happening in 2025. So if you haven't yet, I want to get into my top 3 favorite things that happen. This is my favorite things list. I want to get into the top 3 favorite things that have happened in 2024. Regarding education. And if you have not yet, subscribe for free, PragerUkids.com. You know I always say it at the very top of every live stream that I do. Subscribe for free. Parents, educators, grandparents, anyone who wants to educate their children with wholesome videos and lessons that teach kindergarten through 12th grade lessons about knowledge, life skills, history, good character, financial literacy, and more. Subscribe for free, PragerUkids.com, because we have free resources. And of course, we have a ton of free Christmas and holiday content that teaches your children what Christmas means in the context of a very special historical part of our own American history. And we have tons of faith-based content too. So tell me where you're coming from in the comments. What state are you from? Are you in the belly of the beast in California like we are here? I'm so happy to be with you today. So, okay, let's get into these top 3 headlines for education. Now, I will say this, as a mom and as a co-creator of PragerU Kids. As someone who helped launch this idea of PragerU Kids that came from the mind of our CEO, Marissa Streit, here at PragerU. The past 4 years were all about all of us waking up, being not happy, frankly, with so much of what we saw happening in schools. I speak personally as a mom. But the next year coming around the bend is very hopeful for so many of us. If you tuned in from the beginning, if you're just tuning in, go back to the very top of this live stream and see the clip that I shared with Michael Knowles singing Zippity-Doo-Dah when someone asked him about the possibility of dismantling the Department of Education. But we have something very positive, I think, in front of all of us to make real change in education. And I think that we have through becoming awake as parents and teachers, we now know what we are up against and how to combat it. The destruction of education, of our school system, did not happen overnight. It happened over decades. And fortunately or unfortunately, I think it is reversible over the next few decades as long as we're committed to it. So leave your comments below about dismantling the Department of Education. And let's get into this very first headline. This was one of my favorite things I could be singing Zippity Doo Dah right now. This is my favorite things that happened this year regarding education and schools. So take a look at this article with me if you're watching live. This article is from the Washington Times, and the title you see here, 8th grader wins Bible club dispute with New York public school. And it took me a minute for all of you watching and listening, because when I read New York public school, I was like, wait, public school, right? I think producer Jace thought the same thing. Public school? No way did the Bible win in a New York public school, but it did. And this is my number one of top favorite things that happen in education. So Bibles are back, we can say. I'll read you the first part of this headline, but it is from the Washington Times if you want to look it up independently. One New York 8th grader claimed victory Tuesday, and this article was dated Wednesday, December 11th. So one New York 8th grader recently claimed victory in a religious freedom dispute after initially being denied the right to form a Bible club at his public school. And in the article, it says his name is Elijah Nelson. God bless you, sir. A middle schooler at Waterville Junior Senior High School in the Waterville Central School District spent 2 years requesting an approval to start a Bible club to connect a Bible club. Okay, we're not talking about instructional curriculum. We're talking about a club. There are things, called student-led clubs where if a student has an interest, I mean, this goes for, to my knowledge, across the country. If a student has an interest in a particular topic or subject matter, that is not harmful or destructive, obviously, but if they want to start a club at their school, they are capable of doing that. And of course, under the banner of inclusion that we have seen sweep across this country, everyone's interests can and should be included. Well, this young man tried to start the Bible club for 2 years, was denied. The school officials kept telling the district, we cannot support a religious club. We are concerned about violating the constitutional principle of government, endorsement of religion. My question as a mom, just off the top of my head, and maybe you have some questions too. Everyone cites this separation of church and state. Fine. But if we do our research and we really dive into the whole separation of church and state, what I've found and what many scholars have, frankly taught me through videos that I've watched, articles that I've read, through many of our own PragerU videos that we share here, our 5-minute videos, it's freedom of religion, not freedom from religion. I'm no lawyer. I'm not an attorney. I'm not going to sit here and say, legally speaking, no. But our United States of America was founded on Judeo-Christian principles: equality under God, inalienable rights given to us by our Creator, aka God, right? So what happened was, at this particular school, the school district now recognizes the constitutional rights of this club to meet with equal funding, support, and recognition afforded to all other clubs. Schools should always respect the religious beliefs of their students. This is a quote from one of Elijah's representatives who helped him win this decision. This is a victory for students of all faiths and a reminder that all people have a constitutional right to express their religious beliefs, pray, and study the Bible, even in a public school setting. So, this young man, for 2 years, was asking to form a Bible club. And when the school and the district told him, no, you can't do that, what did he do? He persevered. Something we always teach about in our Otto's Tales Storytime series on PragerU Kids. He persevered. Obviously, I'm assuming with the help of his parents and supporters at the school. But he was granted the right to, or I shouldn't say he was granted the right, he always had the right. The school district, in the end, said, okay, you can form this club. Superintendent Jennifer Spring acknowledged to media that earlier guidance provided to Elijah about starting the club had been incorrect. And the superintendent goes on to say in this article, we strive to provide all students with opportunities to learn, grow, and connect through various activities, including student-run clubs. Now that is after 2 years of not backing down. What if this young man and his family had said, okay, never mind. Okay, you said no, never mind. We don't want to make waves. We don't want to make waves. No, he won. Bibles are back, even in a New York public school through, via a student-led club. Other places where Bibles are back this year, in schools, allowed on campuses and such. Louisiana, one of our PragerU in Schools education partners. PragerU Kids is now allowed to be used in Louisiana public schools as supplemental non-mandatory materials. Louisiana, Bibles are back. June 2024, Louisiana passed a bill requiring the 10 Commandments to be displayed in every public school classroom. However, and here the fight remains, right? The fight remains. November 12th, 2024, a federal judge ruled that the law is unconstitutional, I'm using my little air quotes, and blocked it from being enforced. The judge cited the First Amendment's prohibition against the government establishing a religion. The government's not establishing a religion here. Again, I'm no attorney. But this judge, who's now fighting the 10 Commandments being voted on and allowed in Louisiana schools, also said that the law is discriminatory and coercive and that it doesn't fit with the broader tradition that was in place at the time the amendment was incorporated. Freedom of religion, not freedom from religion. Louisiana is fighting for Bibles and the 10 Commandments to be available and present in public schools. Oklahoma, another place that Bibles are back. Superintendent Ryan Walters, Oklahoma, Ryan Walters, another one of our PragerU Kids in Schools educational partners. Superintendent Ryan Walters ordered that the Bible and the 10 Commandments be included in public schools this year. He says, quote, students grasp the core values and historical context of our country. A lawsuit has been filed to go against this. Texas Education Board voted and approved in November recently to include Bible as optional curriculum in K through 5th grade classrooms as early as 2025. So these states are fighting the good fight. Again, it's under inclusion. They are fighting the good fight to include Bibles in schools. So something else I want to add here, and leave your thoughts if you have experience about Bibles being in schools, being not in schools. Something else I want to add. The Bible was not removed from schools in the United States, but in the Supreme Court in 1963, they ruled that mandatory Bible readings in public schools was unconstitutional. I'm just giving you this for informational purposes. This ruling was part of a series of landmark Supreme Court cases that established the current prohibition on state-sponsored prayer in schools. The 1962 Engel versus Vitale ruling prohibited school-sponsored prayer, even non-sectarian prayer. The 1963 Abington School District versus Schempp ruling banned organized Bible reading for religious and moral instruction. So the Supreme Court's decision, these decisions, because people always cite, you can't have Bibles in schools, it's unconstitutional, these Supreme Court rulings that happened in the 60s. Here's the thing. The Supreme Court's decisions did not eliminate the Bible from public schools, but rather barred state-sponsored religious practices. So how does having a Bible club led by a student group fall under mandated instruction? How does having the 10 Commandments available for viewing, for access, for being included along with every other curriculum, how is that being forced and mandated students to believe it? It's not. It is merely available. And the reason I think as a mom, and leave me your comments, the reason that I think as a mom it's important to include Bibles in schools is because America's school system started with the Bible. It started with the Bible. I mean, the Bible is the most popular, best-selling book worldwide. It has been, it will continue to be, and the Bible is a foundation for our education system in America historically. Historically, the way the United States was founded as a free nation, as a nation with religious liberty, the Bible is part of our American history, and children need to learn that. Children in every school with every religious belief known to man can learn that the Bible was part of America's foundation as to become a free and informed society in its historical context. I want to show you right now what we've done at PragerU Kids to reinforce the historical context of what the Bible means to America's history and why students should learn about it, why American students should learn about it in the context of learning how America was founded and learning our history. Okay, I brought up on the screen, if you can see right now, our Leo and Layla. Thank you, Jace. Okay, awesome. This is a live show for anyone watching, so when we have mess ups, you just laugh and move along with us. But today is great, right? So right now on the screen we have Leo and Layla, our animated series about a time-traveling brother-sister duo. And Jace, I just kind of want you to scroll down a bit to see what kinds of titles we have right there. Our most recent episode is Daniel and the Lion's Den. Now, Leo and Layla travel back in time to meet Daniel. He tells them the story about how putting faith over fear was triumphant for him. And think about that value. I don't care if you believe in anything in the Bible or if you believe in nothing in the Bible. Putting faith over fear, faith in conviction. We'll use that word conviction maybe. Putting conviction and faith over fear in any context. And just if we can scroll down, look at all of these titles. Leo and Layla go to many places where that are famous in religious history. I believe they meet Moses. I believe they meet Abraham. They meet Queen Esther, but they also meet Frederick Douglass, and they also meet Ronald Reagan, and they also meet, who's another one on there? Marcus Aurelius, famous for Stoicism. Leo and Layla is an animated series that you can share with your children, grades 3rd through 5th, so maybe like around, ages 8 to 11, maybe 12, 5 to 6 minute videos, time traveling back to history, many of these religious, historical places to give students the context of the type of values that America was founded upon. I want to go now to our Otto's Tales landing page. You all know Otto's Tales. There I am. That's me. That picture is from a million years ago. And I believe that picture, if you're watching right now, was taken on the day that we shot the pilot for this show. Otto's Tales is, of course, the story time series that I do for kids, kindergarten through 2nd grade. We have the little, we have the little Otto, the little puppy that comes and reads the story with me. And let's just scroll down to see what we have for Otto's Tales. We have, obviously, our Otto's Tales books that celebrate patriotism and landmarks and meet community helpers. We also have classic folk tales, George Washington and the Cherry Tree, things like that. We also have faith-based stories. Why? Because it's important to teach children about Judeo-Christian history in the context of the values that it gives us as Americans. I want to go right now to the episode David and the Giant. And yeah, we're talking about David and Goliath. We did a special episode for David and the Giant. And let's just take a listen to it right now. I want to show you this animation because our animator was so excited about this. Let's take a listen and take a watch.
Is there an Israelite who dares to challenge me, the mighty Goliath of Philistia? Send him to me to fight. David had never seen anyone or anything like Goliath before, but he was a boy with faith and wasn't afraid. He can't beat us, David declared. We are on God's side. King Saul heard about what David said and asked to see the boy. Let me fight Goliath, David begged. The king was doubtful. You're just a boy. How could you fight a giant? I watch over my father's sheep, David replied. When a lion or a bear tried to attack, I killed them. God will protect me from this evil.
So, he says, God will protect me from this evil giant. Yes, obviously this is a religious story. But the object of the game, again, for every child, for every family, is to teach that this particular story of David and Goliath puts faith over fear, puts conviction over fear, and reinforces that no matter how small or tiny you might feel, you can do something to overcome a conflict that maybe many see as impossible to overcome. Those are the types of values of perseverance, of conviction, and frankly, it's not necessarily a religious or a theological lesson. These stories are important to teach children the foundation of our United States of America, why those founding fathers has such conviction. They wrote the Declaration of Independence and established a nation with religious liberty because of their own personal conviction and faith in these Bible stories. So we like to share a lot of faith-based stories, and I'm happy to say it because with all of our partnerships in PragerU, with all of our PragerU Kids partnerships in, I believe it's 9 different states across the nation now, these are available for students and student-led clubs to share with each other on their own time to share their faith at school. Okay, let's go to, and I want to show you this too. Yay, because it's Christmas time and it's Otto's Tales, and we were just talking about the Otto's Tales universe. I'm going to skip the next clip, only for time, but I want to talk about this Otto's Tales Today is Christmas book for your kids. Order it now. Starts with, oh wait, I'm going to show you this. Hold on, watch. Starts with little Dennis and little Otto celebrating their Jewish faith with a menorah. It then does mention the wise men, talks about the birth of baby Jesus, why we celebrate Christmas. It also mentions Saint Nick. Oh my gosh, we've covered it all. There's Saint Nick again. And then they time travel to meet President Kennedy in the White House. And the purpose of this book is to honor, yes, the reason why people celebrate Christmas, Christians especially, but it's also, more importantly, to honor Christmas's place as an American holiday. His wife, Jackie, entering gracefully through the open door. We must also remember this time of year to give to the poor, charity. As Americans, we believe in charity, and Christmas as one of our national holidays inspires us to do that as all Americans together, as and through being an American holiday. And anyways, this is one of our Christmas offerings. If you haven't picked it up yet, you can watch it on PragerU.com for PragerUkids.com for free with me reading the story, or you can buy this book and share it with your family. Okay, let's go to the next headline. Very quickly, I'm going to speed through things. Second favorite thing that happened this year for me, we are beginning to dump DEI. DEI is going to be dumped. Can we applaud? Yes. Okay. The Free Press shared an article a couple weeks ago sharing this teacher's opinion piece. My school experimented with education equity. It failed. Are we surprised? No. This teacher wrote, we put high-achieving students in the same classes as their lowest-performing peers. The results have been devastating. This is a real-life working teacher's account from Newton, Massachusetts, talking about how the past few years they implemented equity in their schools through diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. Essentially, what happened is instead of celebrating merit and pairing and grouping the advanced students together so that they could learn in classrooms at an accelerated pace, this particular school in Newton Public Schools in Massachusetts put all students of all different levels together and, in the name of equity to see what would happen. And it was this grand experiment. And this particular teacher leads the faculty group that was pretty much, trying to track the successes and failures of this particular equity experiment. And what they found is that it failed because The students who were having trouble in class, remember, they're with all of the more advanced students now. The students that were having trouble in class were not raising their hands and reportedly not asking questions and not learning the information that they and the academics that they should have because they were scared to, quote, look dumb. And this is in the article in the Free Press. I encourage you to read this. They didn't want to look dumb in front of their other peers. So what happens is the students who were a little bit more challenged fell further behind, and the students who were previously advanced also fell behind. Equity does not work. And teachers and parents and administrators and school board members are now understanding this after the last few years of DEI programs being implemented in school districts across the country. The proficient levels are not improving. They are getting worse. Less than half of students, kindergarten through 12th grade across the nation, are proficient in reading, writing, math. None of them know civics. None of them have any sort of skill for basic financial literacy, age-appropriate financial literacy. DEI programs are decimating the academic potential of students, and people are now starting to realize this. And this particular teacher shared his personal account over the last few years in Massachusetts public schools, how equity is failing his students. He says, "We acknowledge that tracked classes have problems, but as far as we can tell, multi-level classes are worse. Classes may appear more diverse with all students mixed in one room, but no data have been presented to suggest these classes are actually helping Black, Latino, or low-income students. Instead, we have seen firsthand that the students who need the most support are those least served by multi-level." And he goes on to say, his name is Ryan Normandin, is a math and physics teacher at Newton South High School in Newton, Massachusetts. He goes on to say, he concludes this article, "The concept of anti-racism often cited by administration officials should not involve blindly insisting that these classes are working simply because they make administrators feel good. Effective anti-racism should entail having the courage to admit they're not working and finding something better. There is no shame in failure," he says. "There is shame in failing over and over and over again and calling it success. Newton Public Schools' motto is equity and excellence. These classes are not equitable and they are not excellent." DEI is dying, and we can celebrate that because DEI, as I've talked about it many times before, is state-sanctioned racism at the expense of failing students and squashing their potential for success in school and in life. So that was my number 2 thing to celebrate. Good things happening in education because people are realizing that DEI is not it. Okay, let's go to the next headline. Next headline. Where are we? The return of inclusion and patriotism. In Indiana this year, have you heard about this story? There was a student who defended an American flag on his truck. Cameron Blasek, a student at Westfield High School in Indiana, went viral after standing up to school officials who attempted to make him remove the American flag from his truck. And let's take a look at this clip right now. You may have seen this earlier this year, but let's take a look at this clip to hear from this young man.
Watch. The school came to me and told me, "Hey, you got to remove this flag, otherwise you're getting written up for insubordination." And I kind of just told them straight up from the get-go. I said, "It's not going to happen." I read them their own handbook, and I read them all their guidelines, and I read them Indiana state laws and everything that shows them that I'm perfectly legal and fine to fly that flag. I was always taught never to back down on a situation that you believe in. That's just the way I was raised. My family raised me that way, and I'm very grateful for it.
Yes,
So
never back down.
Tom
Yes. Never back down. Never back down. What an example of being a man. To know he knew his facts and history. He had the courage and the confidence to respectfully stand up to the school and say, "Hey, I can do this. It's within my rights. And obviously, this is not just this message of conviction and people standing up for patriotism and including our American flag as a symbol of unity for all of us as Americans. This isn't just for men, but this is all of us. This is for all of us. Am I right? And because we are dedicated to having courage and teaching children courage to have, conviction in forging paths that may not be readily visible in front of them to make good change and to course correct the miseducation that may be happening at their own schools. We are launching next year. I should probably ask for a drum roll, but I don't have any. If you're watching at home, give me the drum roll. Our Trailblazer series. Brand new book series called Trailblazers. It's launching early next year. I am so excited about this. This is a series to celebrate courage, the making of America, what it took to create this great nation, what the courage it took, the entrepreneurial spirit, if you will, that it took to expand our country, to forge ahead into the unknown, into the frontier. We are honoring so many of America's greatest, I want to say, explorers and pioneers that serve to build our nation. And we have the images of the book covers up here right now. In fact, our producer Jace came in when I have the live book with me, by the way. I have the live book. This is the live book, people, right here. So producer Jace came in earlier before we started, and he goes, that's really cool. He goes, I like that book cover. And I'm like, really? And I had nothing to do with this book cover. We have a team of over 30 people here at PragerU Kids, credentialed educators, people like me who have a background in mainstream media. Of course, our CEO has a deep background in education. But we are creating books like these, Trailblazers of America. The first one that will be debuting on January 7th, is Daniel Boone. Okay, and this is the Daniel Boone book, and I'm just going to give you, obviously it has this is the sample right here, but what I have in my hand, I want to give you a little peek of what's inside. These are workbooks for families to use, for parents to share with their kids, for teachers to use in schools, obviously for homeschoolers. It's a biographical telling of Daniel Boone, who he is, what he did, why he was important. No ordinary job. It's history, taming the trails to Boonesboro, maps, the cultural history, the animals, Appalachian plants, why Daniel Boone went to the West, a daring rescue. These are serious adventures, and we're just so proud of this new series, Trailblazers, from PragerU Kids. They will be available for purchase, the hard copy books, beginning January 7th, 2025, for all of you. This is just, books like this give our kids the knowledge and the depth of cultural literacy that they are lacking now. What will we become as a nation if our children do not have a shared cultural literacy? How many kids now? Raise your hand, leave me a comment. If you were to ask your children, do you know who Daniel Boone is? Do you know who Johnny Appleseed is? Would they look at you blankly, or would they know who those Trailblazers of America were and how they helped build our nation and how it helped our nation become the nation that we are today? Would they know? They should know. So we're giving you more and more and more. I think right now we have more than 800 pieces of content, educational, entertaining, for you at PragerUKids.com. I want to see if I can look at any comments here. You guys know I have trouble because we got to wrap. I have so many. Skip the comments. We can't skip the comments. I can't look at the comments on my phone. Anyways, that's all I have for you today. Share with me what you're most excited about for education in 2025. Share with me what your win was maybe this year in 2024. If you have not subscribed yet to PragerUKids.com, do so now for free for kindergarten through 12th grade to help your children and students understand our great nation through our faults and our stains, but how we're always working towards a more perfect union. Thank you for supporting us. We cannot do any of this without you. Merry Christmas. Mwah. Happy New Year. And happy trails. Until I see you next time. Bye-bye.